Ciao belli! Today we're gonna check how I make my footage more cinematic and how I color grade it in Adobe Premiere Pro CC. And how I go from a sequence like this into this final result. So let's go and jump into Premiere Pro. It's gonna be a lot of fun today and a very creative session. I've got some footage here from a music video I filmed lately with the Italian artist, music artist Barbara Monte. If you don't know her, go and check her out. She's amazing, a lot of great skills. She sang with Andrea Bocelli and many other big artists in Italy and internationally. So definitely go and check her out on her YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. As you can see on my timeline, I've already created a sequence with some clips from this material we filmed. And we are gonna start talking about how to make the footage cinematic. And first of all, I want to go and open up in window. I'm going to open up the Lumetri scopes, but also the Lumetri color. So I'm gonna click on both of these panels. One is right there, and then we're gonna open the Lumetri color. So what did we do here? The Lumetri color is the panel where you can actually modify and adjust all the settings of your color correction. And we're gonna check it in a second. The Lumetri scopes are the scopes where we can visually see the luma, the brightness of our image, and also the color and the tone of the image. So definitely I recommend to start using them. And first of all, guys, if you want to get more into depth about the whole video editing process and also color grading, I recommend to go and check my full and complete Adobe Premiere Pro course that you can find on my website. Said that, let's carry on. And the first thing I'm gonna do to my sequence is to either create letterbox, which are a couple of bars at the top, at the bottom of your frame to make it look more cinematic. But what I've been doing lately is actually to crop my frame. But first of all, I want to show you how to create the two bars. So I want to go to the project panel and press Command B to create a new folder, and I call it grading. And this is my first tip: be very tidy, especially when you're working on big projects. Then we select the folder grading. I go to File and create a new black video. And this video has to match the same settings of your sequence as you can see here. Press OK, and I'm going to rename the black video into bars or letterbox. What I'm going to do is to drag this video into V3, for example. I'm going to extend it all over the clips, so until I cover all the duration of the clips. And now, of course, we're going to see a black video throughout the timeline. So what we're going to do is to crop this video. And to do so, we select the video, we select the clip, we go to actually open the effect panel, effects. So from Windows, you scroll down, effects. We type crop in the effects panel. There you go, and then we literally drag this effect into the letterbox clip. Now we need to go to the effect controls panel where you will see your crop effect that has been applied, but everything is still black because we need to create and adjust this crop. And here you just need to trust me and do what I do. So what you want to do is to go to the left value and type 100. And your image will be fully visible. And now we need to add a mask to make this work. So what you want to do is to go here and create 4-point polygon mask. Just click there and the mask will appear inside your frame, at the center of your frame, and something will be visible, but that's not enough for us. So what you want to do, in my case, is to go here in mask feather, and I don't want any feather because I want a neat letterbox, and I type 0. Perfect. And then in mask expansion, I type 280. And this option will scale up the mask basically. So you can make it bigger or smaller according to your taste. So you can go closer to the top of the frame, as you can see, or a bit lower. But my good point is 280. And now what I want to do is to extend this mask. And to do so, I just taking the 2 key points at the right hand side for now of my shape of my mask. I select the top right, and then by holding shift, I select the bottom right. And now I'm gonna drag these 2 key points to the right hand side of my frame and drag them by holding shift until they disappear. Now you're understanding what's happening. And I do the same with the left hand side key points. So I select the first one on top, press shift, select the bottom one, and drag them by holding shift to the left hand side of the frame until they disappear. And there you go, I've got some parallel letterbox at the bottom and top of my frame. I can click on the timeline and see what's happening there. As you can see, I've got letterbox all over my video. Now that's the first way you can create and make your footage more cinematic. But what I do, as I mentioned, now is to actually crop my sequence. So I'm going to blind the letterbox on the timeline for now. And I'm literally just going to the top menu, choose sequence, sequence settings, and I'm gonna crop my vertical frame to 900 pixels instead of 1080. I press OK, and you will have a warning board saying you're changing the size of your frame. Great, no problem. And as you can see, look here now, your sequence has been cropped to your new amount of pixels. And this is the best way for me to make my sequence more cinematic. The next step for me is to go clip by clip and adjust the clips in terms of rotation, scale, and so on. So I just scroll through quickly and see if there's anything I don't like. For example, this clip, I want to put it a bit higher. So I just select it, go to the effect controls and drag it up until I can still see a bit of the feet of this mysterious man, but also want to see the reflection in the lake. And then I carry on. This is a good one for me. I can reframe them. This one is a bit too high, for example, so I just lower it down. This one is a bit too low instead, so I'm gonna pull it up. Okay, that's great, great. This is good. This is good. Okay, this one is a bit rotated to the right hand side. As you can see, the horizon line is not straight. So what I'm gonna do is to go to rotation in the effect controls and type -1 to make it straight. But as you can see, I need to scale it up as well to fill now the frame entirely. I've got a bit of a black frame here. So I just go to 102 scale. Great, that looks great to me. Carry on, that looks nice, and this one looks awesome. Now we're actually starting with some fun in color correcting and color grading the material. And very useful now is the comparison view in your display, in your program panel. So you want to right click in the program panel and go down to display mode. And here you go to comparison view. In this way, you can choose a specific frame on your sequence and use it as a reference for the other clips. The first thing I usually do in the color correction process is the white balance. So I'm gonna check all the white and the light temperature of the clips, and I'm gonna match it throughout the clips. Of course, it could be a quite long process, especially if you've used different cameras, if the light temperature changed during your shoot and so on. So we're gonna try to match them quickly, and immediately you can see that the light temperature of these two images is completely different. One is towards the yellow and green, and the second one is towards the blue because it was getting darker in the evening. Also, I'm gonna adjust the tone, the overall tone of the image during this process, which means I'm going to change the exposure, the shadows, the curves, and so on. I usually pick the clip I like the most and I start working on that to then match all the others. And usually if I have a person in the sequence, I'm gonna take that specific clip to also match the skin tone. So I usually start when I see some people or skin colors, which actually I don't have very much in this specific video. So let's say we can start from this clip here where I've got the two persons anyway. So at the moment, I'm working on a specific clip. I'm not adding any extra layers because later on we're gonna add an adjustment layer to work with the color correction. But for now, I'm working on the actual clip. So I select my clip and go to the Lumetri color panel. Also make sure you have the Lumetri scopes open. Just for your reference, this is your, as we said before, the brightness, the luminosity of your clip. And as you can see, the image is quite dark. My waves are going down towards the dark part of the spectrum. So I'm gonna lift them up a little, something like that. And here you've got different ways to achieve the same result. So for now, I'm using the tone tab here of the basic correction, basically. But you can also use the curves, for example. And I'm gonna use the curves to add some black and shadows to the image. So I'm going to create 2 key points in the RGB curves, and I'm gonna drag the shadows down to add some contrast. Look at that, it really brings it to life already. And you will see your spectrum moving as well down here. As simple as that. And to be honest, I already like the look of it. So I keep it as it is, and I'm trying to match all the others for now. So we go to the reference monitor, and we're gonna pick exactly this frame, which is at 0028 on my timeline. So right there, I just type the same time code 2819 to select the same frame. There you go. And now I'm going at the beginning of my timeline and trying to match the light temperature. As I mentioned before, this image looks a bit too green, so I try to take the temperature towards the blues. There you go, something is appearing, and probably I need a bit of magenta as well, a tiny bit. And just try to match that. And of course, we're gonna work on the curves as well. And maybe some brightness. I'm gonna take the brightness up, go into the curves, create a couple of key points, and add some black and shadows right there. Wow, very mysterious. Also a bit of white. And here, guys, you just feel free to be creative and play with the settings. I just go back to the basic correction. Actually, probably a bit of green, I need it. There you go. And these 2 images are quite similar already to me. I mean, you can be very detailed and spend a lot of time in color correction, but this is a tutorial. So for the purpose of the tutorial, I'm going quite quick. I'm just gonna match another clip, only one other clip, and then I'm gonna skip the process and go to the next step. So this one is quite different. So let's try to match this clip now. This is definitely more yellow. So what I can do, first of all, actually, I'm gonna change the curves this time. And once again, I'm gonna add some contrast with the blacks. There you go, a bit of white. And then I'm gonna change the temperature to a bluish one, but still it's quite bright. So definitely I want more shadows. And once again, as I mentioned, this is a way to do the same thing in different ways. And I just play with the tint as well to see what I can do there. Something like that could work. And that kind of matches. And now let's play the sequence and see if these clips match. And what you want to do is to do the same thing throughout the video. So now I'm going to match all the tone and exposure and all that for all the clips, and I'm going to be with you in 1 minute. I have now finished to match all my light temperature and tone of the clips, of all the clips. And what I want to do is to add some music for you. But remember, the adding music actually is the first thing to do in the music video. So once again, this is just a tutorial. I'm just adding some music for you to understand what's happening here. And there you go. And I'm going to show you what we've done so far. Right, already a big step up from the original material, from the original footage. This is how it was, and this is how it is right now. But still, I'm missing some stuff. Usually what I do next is to create a vignette to really focus on my subject and narrow down the field of view. And to create a vignette, once again, I'm gonna take the black video we have created for the letterbox, remember? So this clip right here, I'm going to duplicate it and I call it vignette. And what I do, I drag it on top of all the layers, even on top of the letterbox. So right there. If you were using the letterbox, then you can either on top or the bottom of this layer. And now once again, we have everything black. What we want to do is to select the vignette clip here on the timeline and go to the Effect Controls panel. And we're going to create another mask in the opacity of this clip. So if you go to opacity and choose the Create Ellipse Mask, click there. And there you go, you have a tiny mask, a black mask on top of your video. What we're gonna do first of all is to invert it. Click invert it. There you go, that's what we wanna see. And also here in the dimension of my program panel, I'm going to 25% to have a full view of what's happening there. And what I do is to just increase the feather of this mask. So you will read here feather. I literally just drag it up a lot, like big time, like so, 360 in this case, and then we see if it works out. And also I'm going to manually, let's increase a little bit. I'm going to manually change the position of these key points just to have some black vignette around the edges, like so. Also, I'm going to take it up and down a bit more. And this is completely up to you. You can create a very narrow vignette or very wide, very feathered. It's completely up to you. So I like it more feather, even more. And I'm going to increase the feather maybe up to 500 for this video. There you go. And try to make it symmetric on both sides. Now I play the sequence and see how it works. Check it out, it's even more cinematic now and a bit darker, a bit mysterious, so that's what I want for this video. You can use the vignette or you cannot, that's my preference, once again, to make my video cinematic. All right, I really love it, I love the mood, and that's the great thing of color correction and color grading. You can give a specific mood and vibes to your videos. So it's a very important process of video making, don't forget, including the audio mix. The last thing I'm gonna do usually in the color correction process is to add a LUT. LUT stands for lookup table. Basically, you can give a final look to the whole video. You can add another color grading just at the end. And to do so, I create an adjustment layer. So I go to the project panel, select the grading folder and go to File, New, Adjustment Layer. And to create an adjustment layer, you can only do so if you are in the project panel. That's a tip. So create an adjustment layer, press OK, and we just call it grade or LUT, whatever. So LUT. And what I do, I drag it on the clips, over the clips, extend it for all the timeline. And here I'm going to add some final adjustments. For example, I want to create more contrast between the orange of the lantern, for example, and the blue of the background. And to do so, I select the LUT, I go to the Lumetri color panel, and in the curves, I'm just dragging up the saturation of the orange. Very simple, you can either create key points inside the hue and saturation curves line here. So I know that the flame is orange, so I'm gonna select these specific key points and drag it up. And you will see the saturation of the flame changing a little bit. But also I want to add more blue, so I want to create more of this contrast. And another way to select a specific color or shade of colors in here in the curves is to get the eyedrop icon and go on top of your image and select the color you want. So I want the blue, and automatically Premiere will create 3 key points here on the curves. And now you can drag the blue up, for example, and have a look at that. You will see the saturation of the blue just coming to life basically, and making more contrast between the orange, the yellows, and the blue. And the good thing of the adjustment layer is that we set the adjustment layer on top all over basically our clips. So whatever adjustment you do now on the adjustment layer, that will be applied all over the clips. So if we play the timeline, we will have more blue and more orange saturation. And that's the benefit of using adjustment layers. Now, the last thing I do is to watch the video and literally just adjust the details for each clip. So once again, I select each individual clip. And for example, the first clip for me is a bit too dark. So what I'm gonna do is to go to the curves and drag the shadows up a little bit. But I'm gonna add some blacks. So there you go. This clip is maybe too saturated. So I'm just going in this clip and bring the saturation down of the blue compared to the others. And I'm gonna watch the video once again for a final look. I'm very happy with the mood of the video, and that's all, guys. It's a lot of fun. It's a very creative process. Once again, play with the settings, play with the Lumetri color. There's a lot of options there, and also it's great that we can do everything inside one single software. What we have to do now is to export the video, but that's another tutorial, and actually I've already made it, so you can go and check it out here. Don't forget also to check my complete Adobe Premiere Pro course. Go to my website down here, and also I've just launched a new course about how to create a graphic package for your YouTube videos inside Premiere Pro. So once again, we can do everything now inside this software. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button and share the content with your friends if you enjoyed it, if you thought it was useful and helpful. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Seems all good times come and go your way. Child memories fall under rolling.